Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. So we meet online today, as I mentioned, because of the nature of the topic. Walaupun the earlier part of the topic tu still sebenarnya teori, but yeah, since we're gonna have calculation kejap lagi, so might as well we just do online session lah. The classroom tu I don't really fancy the KP for your group lah, basically sebab the other group tu okay je dalam classroom. But for you guys, sebab dia buat kat DKP tu, your distance dengan the whiteboard tu a bit far. So kalau I tulis tu mungkin tak nampak lah. Alright, but anyway, let's look at the slide. Yeah. So we have about 4 or 5 topics to go sebenarnya. So for today we're going to go through the investment in bonds. So kita recap lah, just few topics already. We've discussed about investment in stocks ataupun in shares. So for today, even though sebenarnya 2 jam tu it's too short, sepatutnya plus 1 hour yesterday, tapi tak apa. Kita try to cram everything lah today for the 2 hour punya slot, whereby we're going to discuss the definition of bonds, what is bond is all about, what are the characteristics and also the features, okay, the types of bond a bit. Risk ni sebenarnya you can read je nanti, but the most important part is about the valuation. So again, in terms of the valuation, I'm going to share how to calculate and value the bonds. Number one is by using using the formulas, okay, formulas. And secondly, I'm going to share the alternative ways to get the value by using financial calculators. For those yang ada financial calculators, you can use your financial calculator. Yeah, I pun kena ambil financial calculator ni in terms of how to value the bond. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so for the valuation, so I'm going to use my usual Casio FC200V lah for calculation kejap lagi. But anyway, before we go into valuation, we go through a bit in terms of the definition and the intro of bond. Okay, so need to understand the concept of bond at the first place. What are the features? Okay, so by the definition here, there are a few words that you can see I boldkan kat sini. Okay, number one, very crucial one, it is about a long-term instrument ataupun long-term security. And second component is a fixed income. So these two words already summarize what is bond is all about. So bond is a long-term. So long-term usually we are talking about selalunya lah about 5 years lah, 5 to 30 years, even though some might last even longer, ada yang sampai 35 tahun, 40 tahun pun ada. Tapi in general, usually the bond will last, it will mature between 5 to 30 years. Okay, 5 to 30 years. Okay, give me 1 second, aku lupa buat satu lagi benda kan. Right, so 5 to 30 years. So apa maksud the long term ni? So maybe I restart balik by highlighting how bond works. Okay, so bond ni consists of, dia sebenarnya ada 3 pihak, 3 party punya relationship lah, tapi in general you're gonna see 2 parties. One is called the issuer kat sini, and the other one is called the holder ataupun the investor lah. Okay, so there's always two sides of the story untuk bond ni. So they're gonna start dengan issuer yang menjual bond ni, whereby they have intention ataupun they have the needs to get funding. Okay, so issuer ni can be government or can be firms lah, company, corporate. So they are the one who needs money, issuer. So they need money for whatever reason. Kalau government, dia perlukan duit macam-macam lah. They need money for development, they need money to operate the country, okay, to repair the roadworks, to repair buildings, government facilities, macam-macam lah. And for firms, they can, again, pretty much the same thing. Dia boleh perlukan funding untuk expand their business, improve or upgrade their facilities and so on. So ada je lah keperluan this issuer. They need money basically. So when they issue bond, okay, they're gonna offer an opportunity for the investor. So the other side tu yang investor ni, some incentives in terms of return. Okay, dia kata, okay, I'm selling or I'm issuing this new bond, and the total fund from this bond will give ataupun will accumulate, let's say, 1 billion ringgit. Contoh besar sikit value dia, 1 billion ringgit. Okay, so whoever interested and have excess money can buy our bond. Okay, so you boleh belilah bond tu. So company A beli 100,000, company B beli another 200,000, then ada orang kaya yang ketiga ni beli 1 million contohnya. So beli sikit-sikit with a total combine of 1 billion ringgit aims to be generated lah from this activity. So akan ada ramai investor nak beli, and as the issuer we're going to collect the payment lah from all the sales of the certificate of bond. Right. Issuer selling the bond, and in order to get the money. So the money flows from holder to issuer. So this is the fund lah. The fund akan flow from the holder to the issuer. So if all the certificates sold out, so issuer akan dapat lah total 1 billion tadi. So holder dengan investor ni akan bayar ataupun pass the money to the issuer. But remember, the money that channel to the issuer sebenarnya is a form of debt, utang sebenarnya. So that's why holder ataupun investor ni sebenarnya memberi pinjaman lah kepada issuer. So issuer, government ataupun firm ni tadi receive the 1 billion, that they get the money, obviously they need to repay that. Okay, so what kind of repayment? So that's why dekat bawah ni definition yang lain, the issuer needs to transfer back to the holder two things. Number one, the coupon. So what is coupon? Coupon adalah interest payment. Okay, dalam bentuk, ni tulis income payment lah. Income payment ni dibayar dalam bentuk coupon ataupun interest. And this interests are fixed. So that's why another component dekat sini is called the fixed income. Because the coupon here will be fixed. It will remain constant. Okay, so kalau dia 5 tahun punya insurance lah contohnya, so the coupon will be fixed for 5 years. So kalau dia bayar 4%, that 4% will remain 4% from day 1 until year number 5, regardless what happened in the market. Okay, so as a holder, investor, you're going to receive a fixed return. Okay, and this coupon will be paid annually. Okay, specified period ni can be annually, or sometimes it can be paid semi-annually. Okay, so let's say lah, we acquire the 1 billion tadi, and I have to pay back within 10 years. Okay, as a firm, I receive the money 1 billion, so every year from year 1 until year 10, I'm going to pay them annual or semi-annual punya coupon. So what about the 1 billion that I borrowed? So the 1 billion, I have to repay at maturity. Okay, so the principal kita panggil, the principal is the amount that we borrow tadi, gonna pay at maturity. So those are the two payments that issuer needs to pay back lah. So interest payment, coupon kena bayar setiap tahun, every year, either annually, once a year, or semi-annually, twice a year. And the value that they borrow initially will have to be paid at maturity, at one lump sum figure. So kalau dia punya 1 billion, dia kena bayar balik lah 1 billion at maturity. So that's how the money flows from the issuer and also from the investor lah. So investor initially akan bagi investment to the issuer, and issuer bila dia dah receive the fund, obviously they receive fund tadi for many purpose, among others for new project contohnya. So dia generate lah fund daripada project tu. So income yang dia dapat tu, technically they have to pay back lah dalam bentuk coupon and also principal to the holders. Okay, so that's why in the bonds is involving two parties, the issuer and also the holder. Okay, so issuer and also the holder lah. So issuer, ulang balik, issuer is technically the firms ataupun the government parties yang menjual, seller of the bond, or in other words yang meminjam, whereas the holder / investor ni adalah yang memberi pinjaman. Okay, so also known as the fixed income securities because the payments are fixed, and in Malaysia, in Bursa Malaysia, is also known as the loan stocks. Okay, loan stock ni adalah the other terms for bonds. Okay, so the rest I dah explain tadi lah. Borrower agrees to pay a fixed amount of principal at the predetermined maturity date. Okay, so that's the basic idea of bond, the definition, and some of the characteristics. So we're going to see a lot more characteristics afterwards. Okay, so I tak perlu ulang balik lah all of this. Cuma some information, Malaysian bond market as of 2024, the punya value in terms of size is about 2 trillion ringgit. Okay, it's a huge amount of asset size kat sini, 2 trillion. And the Islamic bond, which is known as the sukuk. So sukuk ni adalah Islamic version of bond. Bond tu konvensional. So ada perkataan Islamic bond kat sini. So sukuk ni adalah the Islamic bond lah. And the value of sukuk is about 63% daripada 2 trillion ni. So majority lah is more than 50%. So obviously the majority of the 2 trillion tu sebenarnya adalah dalam bentuk sukuk. Okay, this is from Securities Commission ataupun SEM based on 2024 punya report lah. So this also confirms that Malaysia has the world's largest sukuk market as well. So memang in the world, Malaysia is the largest sukuk issuance for multiple years already. So bukan baru-baru ni je. So it's quite a lot. Malaysia is already dominated the sukuk market. Okay. Right. Okay, this one tak payah lah. Okay, we are talking about the advantages. So disadvantages ni comes from 2 point of view. Remember, kita ada issuer tadi. So this is from issuer's point of view. Why bonds is more preferable to other types of capital raising punya activity lah. Kenapa kita guna bonds? Number one, it is cheaper. Okay, the keyword untuk the whole thing kat sini, this is cheap lah basically. Ataupun tak boleh kata cheap lah, cheaper. Okay, less expensive, especially if you compare against borrowing from the banks or sometimes even issuing stocks sometimes. Okay, so issuing bonds is relatively cheaper. Okay, less expensive. Because of 2 things. Number one, we can dictate the rates as issuer. Kita boleh tentukan okay berapa persen kita nak bayar to the investor. Alright, unlike banks, kalau you pergi dekat bank nak pinjam duit, bank will set okay, you borrow from us, we're going to charge you this rate of return. Tapi from bonds punya perspective, when you issue it, you are the one who going to decide what will be the rates. So the better your credit standing, your credit punya rating, the lower the rates. Okay, so you boleh jimatkan your cost of borrowing lah if you issue bond. So that's why one of the preference is to issue bond. One of the advantage as well. Satu lagi, the payment of coupon. Remember, dalam apa? Dalam bond transactions, you have to pay two things. Number one, coupon. Number two, the principal. So the coupon payment ni is considered as interest payment. Okay, and this interest payment are tax deductible. Okay, so meaning you can reduce your tax liability by paying debt ataupun paying coupon on your bond punya payment lah. Okay, so you can reduce your tax liability when you use bond instead of, again, kalau you compare dengan stock contohnya, you have to pay dividend to the stockholders and dividend is not tax deductible. So you still have to pay tax, okay, tapi lepas tu you kena bayar dividend lah. So you can see this relationship of tax deductibility from the income statement. So kalau you ingat dalam income statement, so I'm going to write a partial income statement. So income statement ikutkan daripada revenue, cost of goods sold and so on kan. So imagine at the bottom part and the financing part of your income statement, you're going to see earning before interest and taxes. Okay, earning before interest and taxes. So once you reach this level, next thing, what you're going to do, you're going to pay your interest ataupun your finance cost lah, financing cost. Okay, I'll just put here interest lah. So this interest together with the bond payment. So bond coupon tu is part of interest juga. Okay, so selepas you tolak interest, you're gonna derive your earning before tax. So this EBT will be taxable. So your tax akan bergantung kepada nilai EBT. Okay, meaning after you reduce interest ataupun you deduct the interest, you're going to derive your EBT. Then baru you bayar your tax kat sini. So katakanlah tax you 24%, 24%, and this 24% will be based on your EBT, not EBIT ni. Okay, so therefore your tax liability will be lesser because of payment of interest. So lepas bayar tax ni baru you akan derive to your net income lah. Net income. So net income ni can be positive, negative. Kalau positive tu profit, kalau negatif tu you dah rugi lah. Contohnya so usually when you dah rugi kat atas ni, so you gonna have negative lah, net income already. But anyway, so once you dah dapat net income, barulah you gonna pay dividend. Okay, so then you're gonna pay dividend to number one, your preferred stockholders, and second to your common stockholders. So this is the sequence lah in terms of payment. So that's why from issuer's point of view, they prefer bond because this payment of bond interest will reduce the tax liability. Okay, that's point number one lah. Second, from issuer point of view juga, when the market interest rate is down, bond are always the best alternative for raising funds because when the rate, the interest rate is going down, the bond usually will be much preferred alternative because the rate of coupon for bond tu usually fixed kan I cakap, and because of that people tend to like to have bonds as part of their portfolios because in the long run that return will give them consistencies. Okay, dia tak perlu risau pasal changes in the market lah. So that's why when the market interest going down, people still prefer bonds sebab you're going to receive the same returns all the time. Number three, issuers don't have to worry about interference. Okay, interference. Because remember, kita ada issuer, kita ada bondholders kan. So bondholders, the investor, do not have voting rights. So maksudnya kat sini, they will not interfere in terms of decision makings, in terms of the roadmap towards their decision lah. Sebab unlike, again, selalunya kita akan compare between bond dengan stock ataupun shares. So for stocks or shares, there will be some interference because shareholders will participate in decision making, especially melibatkan decisions dalam annual general meeting contohnya. Mungkin tak interfere on daily basis, but somehow there will be some interference with regards to big decisions, appointing board of directors, appointing ataupun removing the members of the board as well. So kalau they issue bond, the bondholders will not have any these voting rights lah. So therefore, they are just outsiders, plain outsiders. So therefore, they will not interfere. So that's another thing that issuer likes about having bonds as compared to stocks ataupun shares. Sebab stock and shares memang the shareholders will have voting rights. Okay, and satu lagi in terms of the returns. Since the returns are fixed, so the liability of the issuer hanya depends on the fixed return tadi. So kalau ada janji untuk bayar 4%, so 4% lah. Okay, so even though the company performed extremely well, generate a lot of profit for that year, okay, they don't have to pay more. Sebab dia punya tanggungjawab dia hanya bayar limited to just that fixed return. So kalau it's 4%, so kalau company tu generate, you know, huge amount of profit that year, they don't have to worry about paying more. Sebab obligation dia hanya based on that return yang dah di fix awal-awal. So they don't have to pay more lah. Kalau dividend contohnya, the higher the dividend, the shareholder will expect to receive more. So the dividend payment can be more, bergantung kepada profits kan. Tapi untuk bonds, the returns of profit is fixed, so therefore you don't have to worry about paying more lah. So some of this advantage untuk issuer might be the disadvantage of investing. Sebab dia contradict kan. So satu pihak yang issue, mungkin ni semua adalah advantage untuk dia, pros untuk dia, tapi it will become cons ataupun disadvantage untuk the other party lah. Okay, kejap lagi kita tengok untuk investor pula. But issuer, kita tengok next on the disadvantage. Okay, disadvantage yang pertama, from issuer's point of view, in terms of payment. Kita tahu tadi payment fix, dia punya obligation pun bergantung kepada the fixed return. You don't have to worry about paying more. However, the payment itself is compulsory. Okay, compulsory. So interest payment must be paid. Must be paid. So technically it is compulsory lah. So what happen kalau tak bayar? Failure to meet obligation in terms of payment. Number one sebenarnya sebelum pergi bankruptcy ni lah, you can be sued. You boleh disaman lah sebab tak bayar. Who gonna sue? The investor. So investor have the right to sue you as issuer kalau you tak bayar. So you janji the rate is 5% and you're gonna pay semi-annually. So dia dah ada dah contract dia 5% semi-annually. So the investor akan expect, okay, 5% bayar 2 kali, maknanya 2.5. So I'm gonna receive it twice a year. So if you miss any of those payments, okay, the investor can sue and file bankruptcy cases kalau dia tak bayar berlarutan lah. So kalau dia kerap tak bayar, then the issuer can face the bankruptcy lah. It's very high risk kat situ. So that's why as the issuer, before you commit yourself in issuing bonds, you have to ensure that you have income stable. Income you kena stable, and therefore you have your ability to make payments on a consistent manner, because or else you're gonna affect your payment obligations, and selain daripada dia pergi bankrupt ni, dia akan affect the credit scoring as well. So company punya credit standard ataupun credit panggil apa, credit scoring lah, credit scoring dia, credit rating dia will go down because of these cases. So bila dia punya rating tu turun, grade tu, so in the future dia akan ada masalah untuk dapatkan funding lah. So maknanya if they want to issue bond or even stocks, they're gonna face problem because of these issues. So dia kena make sure dia punya credit scoring, credit grading tu is always at the top to ensure easy access to funding in the future. So dia kena elakkan benda ni lah. So that's why they consider slightly high risk kat sini. And then the last part is about, selain daripada coupon, is the payment of principal tadi lah. Since the payment of principal will be paid at maturity, at one go, lump sum amount. So amount tu selalunya besar. I bagi contoh tadi 1 billion kan. So if they issue 1 billion worth of bond, so this 1 billion needs to be paid at maturity at one go. Okay, so bayangkanlah lepas 10 tahun, you're going to pay 1 billion. So there'll be 1 billion out of your bank account. Okay, so there's a substantial cash outflow. So if you don't manage your funding, your fund properly, so you're going to have problems lah untuk fulfill this substantial amount of cash outflows to be paid at maturity. So that's from issuing point of view lah, from issuer. So next we're going to look from investor. So this is from investor punya point of view. So from investor, they're going to receive a steady stream of income sebab return to fix. So you don't have to worry company to profit ke loss ke that year, you still gonna receive your payment. Sebab kalau dia tak bayar, nanti company tu tadi akan kena saman kan. So therefore, the company needs to pay every single year without fail. So as investor, you still gonna receive your payment regardless what happened. Okay, so that's number one lah. Then the price of the bond can fluctuate as well. So maknanya the price usually mungkin I tak explain tadi, kejap lagi kita tengok the features. Usually the par value of the bond kita akan assume to be at RM1,000. Par value maksudnya the price when they launch it lah. So satu certificate tu nilai dia RM1,000. Okay, and this RM1,000 worth of bond can fluctuate. Okay, satu certificate tu boleh pergi above 1,000 or can go down below RM1,000 depending on the changes of the market interest rate. So bila demand untuk sesuatu produk tu naik, obviously the price will increase. Similarly, if demand is going down, the price can go down as well. Okay, so bila price naik, contohnya, so you beli pada harga RM1,000. So in a few years time, because of the demand for the bond is increasing, so the price of the bond can go up, let's say to RM1,200. Okay, so bila naik ke 1,200, this will give opportunity for the investor to make capital gain. So maknanya dia boleh jual. Okay, they can sell the bond in order to get faster profit. Okay, because they buy at RM1,000, so the buying price is 1,000, and now when the price going up to 1,200, we can sell and get profits. So that's opportunity jugalah. So similar like stocks lah. Stocks memang price dia fluctuates, but price fluctuations for stocks lagi ni lah, fluctuative in terms of the values. Tapi untuk bond ni, they can go up and they can go down as well. Okay, tapi regardless of the price changes, your return will be fixed. Itu kelebihan lah, similar dengan yang atas tadi. And satu lagi in terms of the risk. Okay, so risk for bond usually considered at a lower risk. Okay, they are not zero risk for some, tapi for bond usually kita boleh letak dia to low to medium level of risk lah. Medium sebab there are some cases bond issuer can go bankrupt kan. So bila bank issuer bankrupt, so dia tak boleh bayar balik. So you gonna face that risk as well. Tapi dari segi, if the issuer is a big company with a very stable income, selalunya your bond payments tu tak ada masalah. You're going to receive your payment as usual, as in the schedule, and you're going to enjoy the bond coupon together with your principal at maturity. So that's one thing lah. It's going to be considered as lower risk, and usually in terms of priority, you're going to receive your income faster than the stockholders. This again can be seen dekat dalam ni lah. Kalau ingat tadi, the payment of coupon berlaku way up here. You akan terima payment first dekat sini. So you're going to receive it first. bayar interest kat sini, receive your payment here, then company declare and pay their tax and declare dia punya income, net income, net profit. So then lepas dah declare net income, then baru dia decide how much dividend dia gonna give. And dividend ni pun dia akan bayar to preferred first, preferred stockholders dulu, and lastly baru common stockholders. So in terms of the ranking, so the bondholders gonna receive their payment very much earlier. So that's why dari segi priority, they're gonna have number one priority lah as compared to the common stockholders, the CS tadi tu kan, the common stockholders akan receive yang terakhir. So as a bond investor, this is again advantage to you lah because of your priority. But disadvantage, pretty much the same as the advantage of the investor, the issuer tadi. So kalau issuer tadi boleh jimat their profits because their payment subject to obligation of paying fixed return. So for you as investor, your return pun fix lah. You hanya akan enjoy based on the dividend, the rate yang dah tetapkan lah. So it's 4% je lah. So regardless what happens to the performance of the company, you're gonna still receive the same returns. Okay, satu lagi mungkin in terms of liquidity. So kalau compare dengan common stocks ataupun shares, they are very much liquid, very easy to sell. Okay, tetapi untuk bond sometimes it's quite hard to find buyers or even sellers kadang-kadang if you want to buy. So therefore the process is slightly difficult as compared to equity lah and stocks. Okay, yang lain tu sama lah. They don't have voting rights. Kalau tadi from issuer, no interference. Tapi untuk investor, so you cannot participate. You don't have voting rights. Okay, and satu lagi, since the returns are fixed, it is not a good hedge untuk inflation. Sebab inflation naik, your return sama je. So your purchasing power akan kekal. So it's not good hedge lah against inflation. Sebab selalunya kalau investment yang bagus, bila inflation naik, your return goes similar atau higher than the inflation rate. Okay, tapi untuk bond, that's not the case lah. So because of the return nature is fixed, so you cannot protect your investment against inflation. So that's why in general, bond investment is good in a way because it's going to give us a fixed return. Tapi jangan letak semua fund kita dalam bond because we need some portion of our bond, our fund to be receiving a fixed return. Tetapi majority of the fund should be exposed to higher returns punya investment. Okay, so that's why untuk high risk investment ataupun high risk investor, they might have bonds dalam dia punya portfolio tapi in a small amount. I don't know, 10%, 15% saja. Okay, so the rest they invest in a medium risk punya investment lah. Tapi untuk orang yang medium to low risk taker, mungkin value bond dia will be slightly bigger, maybe 50%. Okay, tapi not more lah. Selalunya kita tak expect ataupun tak encourage investor to put more than half of their investment dalam bond. Sebab you gonna rely based on the fixed return sahaja. Because sekejap lagi I tunjuk statistik, selalunya that return can give around 4% lah maximum return in a year. Okay, so it's quite small. So good to have sebab kita tahu setiap tahun kita akan dapat 4%. Tetapi in order for us to generate more, sebab kita nak lawan against inflation ni, so we need to invest somewhere with a higher returns as well. So these are among the reason why, okay, nanti baca, I pun dah explain the reason ni basically quite similar dengan the objective tadi, not objective, the advantages tadi kenapa kita invest. So reason for investing ni quite related dengan advantages untuk investor. Now we look at the essential features of bonds. I dah explain tadi. Number one, the coupon. Coupon tu fixed and can be paid either annually or semi-annually. So we already discussed this one. Okay. Lagi satu is par value. I pun dah bagi example tadi. Usually set at 1,000 ringgit in Malaysia. Okay, so the purpose of par value ada dua lah. Number one, that's the initial price, RM1,000. And as I said, the price can fluctuate, can go up above 1,000 or going down below 1,000. But at the end of the day, at maturity, the price will go back to par value. Sebab contohnya macam tadi lah, if the company raise RM1 billion, okay, so dia kena bayar balik at maturity at RM1 billion jugalah. So is 1 billion is the par value. Dengan RM1,000 satu certificate, then you ambil lah 1 billion divided by RM1,000, then you get the total certificates. And at maturity, you don't have to pay more, ikut price. Okay, so you're going to pay 1 billion at maturity as well. So harga dia tak berubah at maturity. Cuma in between, the price can fluctuate, go up and down. Right. Maturity date ada beritahu, usually be the redemption date at maturity lah for the principal. So now we have two types of measurement kat sini. Kita ada current yield and the yield to maturity. So ada dua yield. Yield ni adalah return punya measurement lah. So the first measurement, current yield, is based on the interest income relative to the bond's current price. As I said, price of the bond can fluctuate. So initially dia boleh jual pada 1,000 par value, but throughout the time the price can fluctuate. So in order to know what will be your returns, sebab kalau harga dikekal, kita tahulah kalau dia 4% coupon, your return is 4%, tapi itu kalau based on RM1,000. Okay, but in order to identify what will be your current yield, what is your current returns, we can take untuk CY ni, current yield, you can take the coupon payment. You're going to divide it against the market price lah, the market price of bond. Okay, that's why the formula adalah interest income, which is the bond ataupun the coupon payment relative to the bond's current price, which is the market price of the bond. Okay, so contohnya kalau the coupon rate is 5%, contohlah 5%. Okay, so your coupon payment, your CP ni, your coupon payment would be 5% darab dengan RM1,000, which is RM50. Okay, ni CP yang coupon payment. So, katakanlah market price of the bond daripada RM1,000 naik ke RM1,200. Naik ke RM1,200. So, the price of the bond increase. So, what would be my return now when the price increase? Sebelum ni my return is 5%. Sebab my coupon is 5% kan. But what is my yield now when the price increase? So your current yield, measurement dia, coupon payment RM50, divide by 1,002. Kita darab 100 lah to get it in percentage. So 50 divided by 1,002. So now the rate has going down to 4.17%. So this is your relative return lah. Sekarang bila price of the coupon, price of the bond naik, your return is actually getting lower. So in general, based on this relationship, the higher the price, the lower your current yield. So meaning bila the price tu makin rendah, the higher your return lah untuk current yield. Okay, so this is one measurement based on current yield. Secondly, based on yield to maturity, YTM. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, there are two ways macam mana nak kira untuk yield ni. Satu tu based on, kita panggil dia estimation menggunakan formula. Okay, and satu lagi yang lagi accurate sebenarnya is by using financial calculator lah. So the answer for the formula and the financial calculator might be different, slightly different. Kadang-kadang mungkin jauh juga sebenarnya. It's not necessarily slight, it can be significant difference, but depending on how you calculate, we can accept any of the option lah. So untuk yield to maturity, we can use a formula. Okay, formula whereby it will involve coupon payment. CP ni coupon payment sama macam ni tadi. Kalau coupon payment tadi, kalau rate dia 5%, is 5% times 1,000. Okay, plus with the par value. So PV is the par value, and then minus the market price. So this is the market price. So dalam case ni, the par value is always 1,000, and the market price can be above 1,000 or below 1,000. Okay, and then we're going to divide with N. So what is N? N is the years to maturity. So depending, sebab yield to maturity ni kita nak measure if we keep the investment until maturity. So we need to know how long till maturity. So that's why we're going to divide with N. N equals to number of years to maturity. Berapa tahun yang tinggal lah maturity. And we're going to divide everything here by the par value plus the market price. So the two information yang sama, and we're going to divide this by 2. Okay, so technically this is to find the average prices between par value dengan market price. So kalau par value 1,000, katakanlah market price is 1,002, and then you divide by 2, so you know the average is 1,100 lah. So we're going to divide by 1,100. Okay, so we need few things sebenarnya. We need to know the coupon payment. Coupon payment is coupon rate darab 1,000 darab par value, and we know par value is always 1,000. Market price is the current price, and years to maturity. That's it. And yang atas ni information yang sama je. Sorry, yang bawah ni information sama dengan yang atas. Okay, obviously the yield ni kena darab 1 nanti times 100, then you're gonna get your yield to maturity lah. So you have to memorize the formula kalau you gunakan formula. But if you have financial calculator, later on I'll show you which function to use. So ini kita gunakan compound function. So under the compound function, we just key in information. Kita tak payah hafal formula, dia just tengok dalam ni. Oh, dia ada N, berapa tahun, dia ada interest rate yang kita akan cari kejap lagi sebab kita nak cari yield. You need to put in the par value, berapa, dia punya installment which is the coupon payment berapa, then what will be the future value. Future value. So sebab kita ada dua, par value dengan par value ni will be the future value sebab we're going to receive that at the end. And the par value is the price lah, the current price. Sorry, the MP. MP tu will be the present value lah, but that's the current price. Okay, tak apa, kejap lagi dengan example, I'm going to show you how lah. Okay, so recent update, as I mentioned, the rates roughly around 3.5 to 4.2% lah, depending on the tenure. So the longer the tenure, the higher the rates lah. This is based on Bank Negara's data few months ago. Okay, so as you can see, it's not that huge, the returns, tetapi it is a guaranteed returns. Okay, it is a guaranteed returns. Okay, mechanic ni dah explain tadi. Okay, for the principle of bond price behavior, just remember when the price go up above the par value is called the premium. So ingatlah premium tu lagi tinggi. Whereas kalau dia below par value, it is a discount bond. Okay, so the word premium and discount can be used in the question as well to indicate the price is premium, meaning the price is higher than 1,000 ataupun the par value, and we can see also the price is at discount. So we know the price is lower than the 1,000 ringgit par value. Okay, and the reason why this price go above or below par value can be seen here in this simple diagram. So imagine the price of the bond 1,000 kan tadi kan. This is the par value, and katakanlah the rate is 10%. Just for illustration, it's 10%. Okay, so kalau tak ada apa-apa changes, we're going to see the price will remain constant sampai mature lah. But when the interest on the market decrease, so daripada 10 ni bond. Okay, katakanlah in the market, investment lain, the alternatives yang lain, just give us 8% contohnya. Okay, so what happened to the bond? Bond akan jadi attractive. It will become attractive because 10% lagi tinggi daripada 8%. Okay, so when the price of 10% bond, kat sini. When the price of bond lagi tinggi daripada market rates of 8%, so the demand for bond will increase. Okay, and cause the price of the bond to increase as well. So that's why harga dia daripada 1,000 boleh naik to 1,100, 1,150, 1,200, 1,300, whatever lah. Ni illustration dia naik sampai 1,200 lah. But it can go up even higher. Okay, tu kalau the market rates are lower than the bonds punya coupon. Tapi kalau in the market offers higher than the bonds coupon, obviously the demand for the bond will decrease. Sebab why we invest in bond that give us 10% when we can invest somewhere else that give us 12%. So demand for bond will reduce sebab kita boleh dapat higher returns dekat investment yang lain. Right? And because of that, the price of bond will decrease. Okay, will decrease. So this is the behavior of the bond punya price lah, depending on the other instruments punya rates. Okay, but at the end of the day, as I mentioned, okay, kat sini tak nampak the price of the bond ni akan go back. Dia akan go back kat sini lah sebenarnya. Dia akan go back to the RM1,000. Kalau dia mature kat sini, this is maturity. Okay, bila dia mature, they will go back to the price, the original price, which is the par value. Okay, so dari tahun pertama sampai tahun maturity ni, in between, the price can go up and can go down. Okay, tetapi at maturity, the price will go back to original price. Right, one of the key criteria ataupun key characteristics of bond, dia sebenarnya ada dua, ada normal bond, dia ada satu lagi bond yang dipanggil callable bond. Kat depan ni tadi ada kot callable. Special feature yang ni, callable bonds. So what does it mean by callable? Callable means the bond can be redeemed ataupun repurchase before the maturity. So katakanlah the bond tu boleh mature in 10 years time. Tapi dalam contract, the issuer state that for during the 5th year contohnya, the bond can be redeemed or repurchase all of it with a certain price. Okay, and that price dipanggil call price. Okay, call price adalah bonds par value. So par value katakan tadi 1,000 kan. And we're going to add with the call premium. So what is call premium? Call premium is an amount added as a compensation to the bondholders. Sebab kita nak bayar awal ni. Kita nak bayar awal. So therefore as investor, you sepatutnya akan terima income for 10 years. So bila you beli, you know, okay, I'm going to receive a fixed return for 10 years. But when they have these callable features, bila dia boleh redeem in the 5th year, so maknanya tahun ke-6, tahun ke-10, you dah tak dapat your coupon already. You akan dapat balik your RM1,000 tu in year 5. Sepatutnya you terima in year 10, you're going to receive it in year 5. So you miss 5 years of return. And because of that, the issuer kena bayar compensation, and that compensation is a form of premium. So this premium akan added in the call price, added together in the par value to become the call price. So that's one of the features juga lah kalau dia ada callable, and not all bonds are callable. Okay, ada jenis-jenis bond je yang callable. Okay, so the low coupon, based on the graph yang ni tadi based on this, we can say that bond yang ada low rates of return akan lagi sensitive with the market changes as compared to those yang high. Sebab apa? Sebab bila dia low return, dia katakanlah 2% kat sini. 2%. So changes sikit je dekat ni akan menyebabkan price of the bond can go up or down. Especially going down lah, sebab bila 2% ni jarang ada investment yang lagi rendah daripada 2%. Okay, and because of that, the price of the bond usually tend to go down. Kalau dia harga, dia punya rate rendah lah. But at a higher rate bond like 10% ni selalunya the price slightly stable sikit lah. Okay, so less sensitive for high coupon. So contohnya 2%, bond react more to rate changes as compared to the 10%. Okay, so as investor, you kena tengok lah, kalau slow, then there's a high chance of the rate Itu akan jadi fluctuative juga. Okay, almost 3 ni kita take a short break kejap to see the types of bond quickly mungkin, and then we go straight to the calculation side of bond lah. Okay, so let's take a short break kejap. Okay. Ni sejuk lah. So kita kena cepatkan sikit proses ni. For the types of bond nanti you just read on your own. Share ke tak ni? Share. Okay, so the types of bond ni, please proceed by reading it. So I just nak highlight a few things lah about types of bond. Number one is the issuer's punya point of view. So issuer dia ada dua. It's either government ni together lah with the government agencies, and satu lagi is corporate. Okay, and then satu lagi jenis categories adalah between secured dengan unsecured. So secured means backed by collateral, meaning with cagaran. Whereas unsecured means without any collateral. Okay, and obviously there's some differences lah between secured dengan unsecured. Mana satu lagi risky, which one is less risky. And there's also another types of bond that have zero coupon dengan convertible. Kalau zero coupon means there's no coupon payment, but instead they're gonna give discount when they sell it lah. So meaning, we know the par value is 1,000. So when they sell it at the first punya option tu, they're gonna sell it at a very cheap price. Maknanya very lower price than 1,000 lah. Katakanlah they sell it at 800 ringgit contohnya. So there'll be no annual coupon, but the price will go back to 1,000 semasa dia mature lah. So you purchase at 800 and then you're gonna get 1,000. So that's zero coupon. And convertible bond is a types of investment in bonds that allows you to change ataupun to swap or to convert the bonds into equity ataupun stocks. Okay, so again, dia akan adalah conversion price dia berapa ringgit if you want to convert. How many stocks can you exchange from the amount of bond that you have? So all of those lah, and setiap satu ni sebenarnya have their explanation here lah. Okay, dari segi government bonds, okay, the government agencies ataupun the kita panggil apa dia, GLCs, government link companies punya bonds. Contoh-contoh ada dana harta, khazanah, okay. Then we have the corporate. Okay, in Malaysia, historically, the corporate is more, the government bond is more than the corporate bond initially when they launch it. But nowadays, the corporate bond took over in terms of the percentage lah. So as you can see here, a lot of example as well. One of the first big infrastructure projects that use bond adalah highway yang you all lalu. Siapa yang duduk between north to south tu kan, kita ada north south, yang plus tu kan, plus highway tu, itu antara one of the pioneer of the project in the 90s, okay, yang menggunakan bond lah, okay. And then they have the straight dengan convertible tadi lah. Okay, please pun nanti you baca. Now I want to talk about the rating. Dah kira lagi Paksa ni Pak ni. Okay, rating very quickly. Every bonds in Malaysia needs to be rated before they sell. Okay, rating. So this evaluation will be done by rating agencies. So there are plenty of rating agencies in Malaysia. Yang Malaysian own, kita ada RAM dengan MARC. Rating Agencies of Malaysia dengan Malaysian Rating Agencies Corporation lah. Okay, and internationally we have je ni ada tulis S&P, Moody's, Fitch. Ada lagi ke? Rasa macam ada 4 global agencies. Standard & Poor, Moody's and Fitch. Okay, so those are the options. So maknanya as a bond issuer, sebelum you issue, you have to go through the rating process, and these institutions, these companies akan buatlah thorough checking, and then dia akan bagi you satu grade ataupun satu rating, and this rating will indicate your credit worthiness, and most importantly the default risk. risiko untuk you default. Defaulting means you cannot repay back the payment of coupon and you cannot pay back the principal. So the higher the rating, the lower the risk. Okay, dia inverse the higher the rating, the lower the risk. So kalau rating you AAA yang paling tinggi, so risiko you paling rendah lah untuk default. Okay, and vice versa. So meaning kalau your rating is low, your default risk will be higher. Okay, so contohnya, this is for Malaysian punya sovereign credit rating. Sovereign ni maksudnya kalau negara punya rating lah. In 2025, based on the Fitch rating, kita punya negara diletak sebagai level of triple B. Okay, triple B plus in fact. Triple B plus. So kena bacalah Fitch punya rating apa dia. Apa maksud triple B plus. So dalam case ni, I'll just letak dia stable lah. Okay, it's not the best, obviously. Kalau best hanya triple A. Okay, tapi triple B meaning somewhere top tier jugalah, but not the highest tier. So kalau Moody's dia punya rating A3. So tapi dari segi definition samalah stable. Okay, so the two companies here listed is Malaysian. RAM is the first one, Mark is the second one. Okay, so nanti bacalah historical event of the two companies. But nowadays with the ESG punya implementation, dia dah embed sekali ESG as part of the rating exercise lah. Okay, so and Mark is the second one. Okay, ni contoh. Kalau tak salah ni Mark punya kot. If I'm not mistaken lah. So the highest rating is AAA. And then dia ada punya definition lah. Indicates the ability to repay principal and interest on a timely basis is extremely high. Okay, maknanya masalah untuk dia bayar balik interest and principal ni more or less tak ada issue. Because dia boleh bayar according to the time, extremely high chance. Okay, so that's the best rating lah, AAA. And then they go down to AA, A, and then BBB. Okay, and dalam case ni BBB is the lowest investment grade. Lowest investment grade maknanya yang recommended untuk kita invest paling rendah BBB. So anything less than BBB will be risky. Okay, will be risky lah. In fact BBB ni pun dah risiko lah. Tapi still advisable untuk kita invest for BBB. Tapi kalau dia dah masuk BB sampailah B, this is the lower grades ataupun the not investment grade. Okay. So the lower the rating, B ni worst case lah, dia dah default lah pun. Dia dah tak mampu nak bayar balik lah kalau dia dah masuk D lah. So C ni high likelihood of default already. So rating dia dah teruk lah. So as an investor, bila kita nampak rating ni, it will give us indicators. Okay, so we should avoid D or C. Okay, but if you're willing to take risk, ambil lah BB. Sebab remember tadi saya cakap, there are some bond yang rating dia rendah, mungkin BB contohnya, but in order to attract investor, dia kena bagi rating yang tinggi lah, atau bukan rating tinggi the return yang tinggi, the interest rate yang tinggi lah, the coupon yang tinggi, in order to attract. So those with a higher ranking like AAA usually can offer low returns of bond, but still people will buy their bond because they want stability, right? So ni contoh lah. So now we go to the valuation. Okay, so the first valuation is based on the intrinsic value. Okay, kalau dalam stocks kita ada intrinsic value whereby we measure using the P0. Kalau you ingat kan, P0 punya formula lah. Dia ada 4 different models. If you remember, kalau menggunakan dividend discount model, then we measure the price based on the intrinsic value. So similarly, bond pun kita boleh measure the intrinsic value. Okay, cuma the label we gonna use the terms VB. VB ni patutnya B ni B kecil sama macam kosong lah, the value of bond. So it consists of two components. Yang kat depan ni is based on the coupon, and the back here based on the principal lah. Okay, so C divided by M ni is the coupon payment. Okay, so C ni coupon payment, and we have to make adjustment kalau the payment tu is more than one time. because M here referring to how many times coupon will be paid in a year. So as I recall tadi, I beritahu coupon can be paid either annually or semi-annually. So meaning kalau dia annually, contohnya annually, okay, the M is equals to 1. Kalau dia semi-annually, the M will be 2. Okay, so meaning if it's annually, there's no changes towards your C, there's no changes towards your K, there's no changes and tak ada isu lah kalau dia annually. Tapi kalau dia semi-annually, your C and K you have to divide by 2 and your N you have to multiply by 2 kalau ada semi-annual punya question lah. So read your question. Kalau annually no issues, you tak payah kisah pasal M ni. But if it's semi-annually, you have to make some adjustment. So your coupon and your rate of return will cut into half sebab you kena bahagi 2. And your N tu again, years remaining to maturity, you have to double it up. You kena darab dengan 2. Now, the most important part for PVIF dengan PVIF ni is this part whereby the returns kena kira mengikut table by referring to the table. Okay, sekejap dalam ni sebelum kita guna calculator. So, I think you dah belajar tengok table ni in finance lah, in financial management. Investment planning ada. The thing is, investment planning ni kita tak bagi table ni lah. There's a table lah. Oh, this one. Right, so this is the table. Okay, dia ada future value interest factor. So you've learned this when you learn about time value of money lah. Okay, but our concern is more on the present, not the future values lah, the present value. So we have present value of interest factor, PVIF, and then we have the PVIFA, the annuity. Okay, so remember dalam valuation of bond there are two components. The coupon kat depan C darab dengan PVIFA annuity sebab coupon is fixed, so there are annuity, and then the par value, the principal at the back of the formula. It is a single payment sebab the principal will be paid at maturity. So the VB concept dia sama macam valuation of stocks juga lah. We're gonna present value. Kalau stocks, we present value the dividend together with the selling price. So untuk bond ni sama juga, we're gonna present value the coupon payment and also the principal, which is the par value lah. So since we don't provide tables during your exam, final exam especially, you kena tahu formula ni. Kalau you tak ada financial calculator, you have to remember this formula. For PVIF, okay, untuk calculation of principal punya valuation lah, so you have to use 1 divide by 1 plus K to the power of N. So 1 ni memang 1 lah. So K is the rate of return and N is the years to maturity. Okay, but for PVIFA, okay, dia ada still component 1 plus K to the power of N yang tengah-tengah ni, 1 divide by 1 plus K to the power of N ni still ada kat situ. Cuma kita tambah, kalau whatever results yang kita dapat from PVIF tadi, we have to take 1 minus that results and then kita kena divide by K. Then we're going to get the PVIFA. So panjang sikit lah proses ya. And like I said, the table untuk ni tak diberi semasa final exam. So tak nak kena hafal lah formula ni ya, PVIF and also PVIFA. Okay, kalau you tak nak hafal, alternatively you need to have your financial calculator with you. So coming back to this one, so dia suruh refer to the table tadi kan. Tapi kalau ikutkan PV, siapa nak kena ingat kan, PVIF 1 divided by 1 plus K to the power of N. Ni untuk PVIF. Kalau PVIFA, you kena ambil 1 plus K to the power of N ni, cuma kena ambil 1 minus this part, and then the whole thing ni you kena bahagi dengan K. So that's the formula that we're going to use lah. Okay, so basically two parts. You kena hafal PVIF dengan PVIFA ni in order for you to put it here. So the whole thing dalam bracket ni is actually referring to this lah. So the K dengan N ni, K is the required rate of return and N is the years left to maturity. And principal, as you all know, principal is always 1000, so this is fixed. Darab dengan PVIF yang ni. So kalau K, let's say 10%, and N katakan 4 years, then you letaklah the K tu 10%, so 10% 1 plus 10 to the power of 4, then 1 divided by that answer. Okay, boleh kira je kot kan. 1 plus K is 1.1 to the power of 4, then take 1 divided by that answer, so you akan dapat 0.68306 ni. So darab dengan 1000, so it becomes 683 contohnya lah. So those kind of things lah you have to do when we do the valuation of the bond using the formula. But okay, for those yang ada financial calculator, especially the Casio FC200, you don't have to memorize all the formula just now. Okay, simply use the compound function, CMPD. Dia ada dalam financial calculator ni, there's one function is called compound, which is the compound interest. So you just simply tekan the compound function, then you're going to see this layout. Dia ada set, which is the setting, the N, the I percentage, the PV, the PMT, payment, FV is future value, PV dengan FV ni you know lah, present value, future value, and then this PY dengan CY ni selalunya kita set at 1 lah, this is default. Ni payment per year dengan coupon per year kalau tak salah, ataupun principal per year dengan coupon per year. So these two kita tak ubah. So remember, the changes sebenarnya when we have this payment of M ni sama ada annually ataupun semi-annually. So kalau ada perubahan, we adjust straight away. So maknanya kalau K ni annually, ni katakanlah annually, it's 10% in 4 years. So kalau dia semi-annually, automatically your K akan jadi 10% divided by 2, which is 5%. And your K4 ni kena darab 2, and it becomes 8. So instead of you use 10% and 4 in your formula, you're going to guna 5% and 8. So those are the adjustment that you need to do when it is semi-annually. So kalau dia annually, you don't have to change lah. Maknanya you guna just 10% and 4. But when you have semi-annually, your calculation of PVIF or PVIFA kena ubah according to this. So maknanya 1 plus K ni pun you boleh kira lah, 1.05 to the power of 8. Okay, and then 1 divided by the answer. So your rate is not 0.6830, tapi kat sini is 6830. Kalau untuk yang semi-annually, based on 5% and 8 ni, your rate would be 0.6768. So ada perubahan sedikit on the interest factor ni lah, if you have semi-annual. Okay, so coming back to this, so you kena ubah a few things sahaja. Okay, so the setting ni always set at end sebab dia ada dua options, is either ending or beginning. So kalau you ingat you belajar time value of money, the difference between ending dengan beginning is the types of annuity. Annuity tu compound regularly, ataupun it is based on dia ada normal annuity dan satu lagi saya lupa nama terms tu, but that compounding happen at the beginning, so you have to change to begin. Tapi untuk bond kita akan assume it is a normal annuity, so dia ordinary annuity dengan annuity due. So annuity due tu we're going to change to beginning, but in our case we're going to assume this ordinary annuity. So technically the setting, the PY CY ni akan kekal lah. This 3 is the base of the information, so we need to change 1, 2, 3, 4 together dengan 5 lah, sebab par value ni is always 1000 kan. So just 4 items plus 5 lah, 5 kira 5 lah So N is the same, how many years left to maturity. The I percentage is the rate of return. Okay, the rate of return yang ni K ni, the K. So I letak kat sini lah, this is your K, so this is your N. So the PV yang kita akan solve sebab kita nak cari value. Okay, this is value ataupun price, so we're going to solve the price, the PV. Okay, so PMT is the annuity, the coupon payment is a form of annuity. So coupon payment, as you remember, is coupon rate darab dengan 1000, which is the par value. Okay, and then the par value is always 1000. That's it, then you're going to get your result lah. So the nature of analysis sama macam stocks. Okay, the value between the intrinsic dengan the market price. So market price higher than intrinsic value. Okay, kalau market price is more than intrinsic value, it is overvalued. Overvalued when market price is higher than intrinsic value, overvalued. So your decision is not to buy sebab dia mahal, as I mentioned before. So kalau MP is less than intrinsic value, ni over. So this is under valued. Right, so I tak perlu ulang balik lah, ni sama macam stocks before this. So ni contoh soalan, maybe tak sempat buat semua, kita try a few. Okay, tapi kita start dengan question 1. Dia ada jawapan kat belakang ni. Okay, so we go through number 1. Determine the value of 20 years bond. So this is our N with 9.5% coupon. So this is coupon rate 9.5% and yield at 12%. So this is our K. And current price is 850. So this is the market price lah, 850. So 850 market price. So market price will not be part of our calculation lah, but this is be our comparison sebab dia nak tanya kita beli ke tak. Okay, so yang tak mention the par value. Par value tak mention, but always remember par value we're going to assume at 1000. And that's about it. So dalam calculator, N you're going to set 20 years. I, the rate, the K is 1%. The par value, okay, par value PV ni kita akan biarkan dulu because this is the one that we're going to solve. We're going to use the solve button kat sini untuk kita cari what will be the price. Okay, and then the PMT. So PMT is the coupon. So since coupon kita is 9.5, so the PMT would be 9.5% times with 1000, which will give us 95 ringgit. So we're going to put our PMT at 95. And our LV is at 1000 lah, because that's the par value. Okay, so then you solve the PV. So you akan pergi dekat button PV and solve it. So you're going to get 813.26 ini. 813.26. Okay, but what if you don't have financial calculator? Right, so you kena kira lah guna VB punya equation ni. Okay, so VB, the coupon is RM95. Okay, so your PVIFA, the K is 12% and N dia 20 years. PVIFA, sorry, PVIFA, and then plus with 1,000. PVIF 12% and 20. So this is your table lah ataupun your formula. Right. So you kena kira PVIFA dengan PVIF ni separately. So kalau ingat tadi PVIF, it's 1 divided by 1 plus K to the power of N kan. So you need to know the K dengan N. So K dia is 12%, N dia 20 years. So if you put in this formula based on 12% and 12% and 20, you know, so you're gonna get 1 plus K. K 12% is 1.12 to the power of 20. So N dia 20. Okay, then you ambil 1 divided by that answer. So PVIF dia is 0.1037. Okay. Okay, kalau kita compare with the table just now, PVIF tadi 12%, 20 years, ni 12%, 20 years, 0.1037. Okay, so if the thing is we don't have the table in the final lah, so you're gonna kira sendiri. See. Okay, ataupun I tulis lah kat sini. Oh, sorry. I liris lah. Sebab I dah ni tadi Okay, I tulis balik lah. So it's 1 divided by 1.12 sebab this 12% and tu 20. So in your calculator, you ambil 1.12 to the power of 20. Okay, you dapat answer. You zeroize balik, AC tekan AC ataupun tengok calculator lah. Mine is AC, maknanya you kosongkan balik and then you take 1 divided by tekan answer. Recall balik the previous answer kan. Then you're going to get 0.1037. So untuk PVIFA pula. Okay, so kalau you ingat formula dia tadi, 1 minus 1 divide 1 plus K to the power of N, and then you bahagi dengan K. So you have 0.1037 untuk kat sini kan. So you just ambil 1 minus 0.1037, then bahagi dengan K. K dia is 12%, 0.12. So you dapat 7.4692. Okay, yang mungkin lari sikit lah. Maybe I try balik 0.12 to the power of 20, and then 1 divided by that answer. Okay, panjang sikit lah jawapan ni. So 1 minus that answer divided by 0.12, 7.4694. So kalau you kira K ni in total tadi, you punya belakang ni akan jadi 4694 belakang dia lah. So you have these two rates already, then baru masuk kat dalam ni lah. So 95 darab dengan PVIFA 7.4694, then the 1000 darab dengan 0.1037 darab 95 plus 143.137. So your answer akan jadi 0.3.2 atau 0.30 lah RM so akan lari sikit dia punya sen kat belakang tu. So that's alternative if you don't have financial calculator. You have to rely on the PVIF and PVIFA formula. Okay, so you decide mana yang lagi mudah. So if you don't have financial calculator, memang kena ingat lah the whole formula untuk dapatkan the PV. Okay, but if you have financial calculator, then you just key in according to this function. So kalau you ada financial calculator, nak jawab macam mana? So you jawab macam ni. You kena put the table ni. Just copy daripada you tekan say MPD, you know what information that you need to enter, then just write your final answer. So your PV ataupun your VB dalam case ni, the value of bond would be 813.26. So the question next tanya, so kalau price is 850, will you buy it? So the answer is no lah, sebab market price is 850, but the actual price, the value of bond is just 813. Okay, cheaper lah, ataupun lower than 850. So therefore, it is overvalued. So it is not recommended for us to buy. Okay, so ada banyak soalan. I tak sure I bagi you slide yang ni ke tak, but kalau tak ada, you can try lah. For each of the questions, so ada 4 different questions dekat sini, so with 4 different results. Okay, and the next is the current yield. So this is the second one, current yield. So current yield tak payah guna financial calculator, guna normal calculator pun boleh. So I already wrote masa earlier tadi, I explained how to get the current yield. It's just the coupon payment, the annual coupon bahagi dengan market price. Very straightforward. So kalau dalam case ni, we don't care about others, we just need to know the coupon. So the coupon ni 5%. So remember, kalau 5%, automatically coupon equals to 5% darab 1,000, which is RM50. And then the current price. So current price dia 800. So kalau nak cari the current yield, it is 50 divided by 800 darab 100. So it's 6.25%. Okay, very straightforward. So that's the current yield lah. So the question sebenarnya tanya what is the nominal yield. So nominal yield, you don't have to calculate. Nominal yield is the actual coupon. Okay, actual coupon. So the coupon is 5%. So the current yield is 6.25%. So remember, the higher the price, the lower your yield. So bila case ni, the price is lower than 1,000. So the yield is higher than the nominal yield. Okay, something like this lah. Ada soalan ni? Tak ada. Right, so 2 more. The yield to maturity. So this is the alternative way. I dah tulis juga tadi earlier, the formula for yield to maturity. So C, again C dengan N might to make some adjustments kalau dia M tu ataupun the compounding tu annually ataupun semi annually. PV is always 1,000. The par value is 1,000. And then N is the, again, years to maturity lah, years to maturity. So the rest is the same. So again, we use compound function. Kalau tadi VB, our point untuk solve adalah di PV. Okay, sebab kita nak cari the price kan. Tapi untuk yield to maturity, we make slight adjustment. So instead of PV, sebab PV will be in ringgit, our task untuk yield to maturity is to find the rate. So the rate is the I%. The I%. Yes. Oh, tak ada slide.
Saya tak ada.
Okay, sorry. Macam mana tak ada slide. Okay, so untuk yield to maturity, our concern is to solve the I percent. Okay, the I percent. Kalau tadi we focus on the present value, whereby we solve at present value. But now untuk yield to maturity, we swap lah. Kita nak cari the rate. So therefore I is kita nak cari lah. So tadi I tu kita gunakan K, the rate of return kan, to find the value of the bond, which is the PV. Okay, but the rest is the same. Future value still gunakan par value, which is 1000. So here we're going to use 1000 kat sini. And untuk the market price, tengoklah price can be premium or discount. Kita solve dekat I percentage, which is the yield. So again, kita gunakan satu example. Bond AAA was issued 6 years ago with 10 years maturity and a coupon rate of 10%. So this is our C, 10%, atau specifically coupon rate 10%. Currently selling at 900 ringgit. So this is our market price. And then disuruh cari YTM. Okay, what is the YTM then? So the N is how many years left to maturity. Okay, so bond ni dia issue 10 tahun. It is a 10-year bond. Okay, but it was issued 6 years ago. So meaning you are here in year number 6. You are here. Because it was issued 6 years ago. And so when we want to identify N, how many years left to maturity, so NU technically is between this to here, from year 6 to year 10. So technically your N untuk soalan ni hanyalah 4 years. So you have 4 years left to maturity. Okay, and the rest kita dah dapat lah tadi. The rate is 10% and the market price is 900. So based on our calculator, the N we set at 4. I kejap lagi kita solve. The PV is 900 ringgit because that's the current price. Okay, so we put the current price or the market price as 900, and we always at the PV we put a negative values lah. Saya tak perlu explain panjang lah why put negative. Kalau tak letak negatif pun tak apa. Tapi mungkin takut lari dekat percentage ni. Dekat PV ni we always put a negative figure. Sebab kalau kat sini tadi bila you solve pun you're gonna get a negative values sebenarnya. Dekat sini. So kat sini pun bila you solve you're gonna get a negative values. Sebab dalam time value of money the negative tu indicates inflows and outflows. So negative tu just nak indicates that the money is going out. Okay, the money is going out lah. So 900 ni kalau duit keluar, maksud if you want to buy, it is cost 900 ringgit. Okay, so the payment is 100 ringgit. How? This 10% darab dengan 1000. So it's 10% times 1000. Then you get 100 ringgit because the coupon rate is 10%. And then the future value is 1000 lah. Okay, so similarly, you just use the compound function in your calculator. Insert negative 900, PMT 100, FV 1000. So the rest is status quo. You pergi dekat I%, tekan ataupun klik the solve button. There's a solve button dekat sini. So automatically then you get a 13.39%. Okay, but again, what if you don't have financial calculator? So kena rely on formula lah. So I tulis balik yield to maturity, formula dia C plus par value tolak market price divide by N, and then divide PV plus market price divide by 2. So the coupon kat sini is our coupon lah, which is PMT 100 ringgit plus PV is always 1000. And market price currently selling at 900. Okay, and then divide by N. And N kita define tadi 4 years. Okay, so remember the actual maturity is 10 years, but the bond is already issued 6 years ago. So we have 4 years left to maturity. And then we divide by 1000 plus 900 divide by 2. Okay, we calculate the bracket first. Okay, automatically you tahu lah, buat mask kan, you solve the bracket first. So 1000 minus 900 divide by 4, and then plus 100, and then you divide by 9900 by 2. So you're gonna get 13.16%. Okay, so slightly different than the calculation, but like I said, YTM ni is based on estimation. It's not 100% accurate, but somehow close to the original value lah. So ikutkan the correct answer, the actual answer is 13.39 ni. Okay, tapi kita boleh terima lah the YTM in order for us to estimate roughly what will be the yield to maturity. Okay, dia undervalued sikit kat sana. Tapi tak apa, kalau you don't have financial calculator, kena gunalah the formula of YTM this untuk get your answer for the yield to maturity. Okay, maybe give me one more second untuk our final part, which is the YTC, yield to call. So this is the final question kalau dia boleh tanya berkenaan dengan bond bond valuation. So tadi yield to maturity, now we have yield to call. Remember, there are some bond that are callable, can be called before maturity. Okay, so kalau you nampak the structure of the formula sama je macam YTM, still ada coupon, cuma instead of par value we have the call price. Okay, CP is the call price minus the market price. So sama, kalau tadi PV minus MP, now is CP minus MP, and divide by N. And N untuk yield to call is to sini first call date, ataupun I boleh translate this as years to call. So how many years left to first call? Call this sekali je, I mean how many years left to call lah. Okay, years left to call. Okay, that's why kadang-kadang instead of N, kadang-kadang dia guna the term NC, years left to call lah. Okay, then the rest are the same. Okay, bahagi dengan CP plus MP divided by 2. So this average price. Okay, so similarly we can use financial calculator. Alright, and sama kita akan solve dekat I percentage. So kalau tadi FV ni is our par value, now it be based on the call price because this is the price that we're gonna pay at the end. Kalau tadi, kalau YTM, kita akan bayar at maturity, which is 1000. Now we're gonna pay at call punya time, which is based on the call price. So that will be the future value lah. Okay, so the present value, again, similarly market price, don't forget to put a minus dekat kita punya market price. And then the coupon payment is based on coupon rate darab 1000, sama je. Okay, so we're going to solve dekat I. So a 10% coupon, okay, so this is the coupon rate, 10%, with a par value of 1000, so this is par value 1000, matures in 13 years. Okay, ada 13 tahun lagi untuk mature. Currently sold at 920, so this is the market price, and despite all that, issue may expect to call back after 8 years. Okay, after 8 years, so this is our NC lah, this is our N, okay, and this is the call price, dia boleh call at 1100. Okay, so composition of this, 1000 is the par value, 100 ringgit is the call premium, kalau you ingat tadi lah. Okay, when we combine, it becomes call price. So the question tanya, what will be the YTC, the yield to call? Okay, so the N, but this is call, kita ambil NC tadi. This one, NC is 8 years. The present value, which is based on the current price, 920. The PMT is 100 because it's 10%. And the future value is 1,100 is based on the call price. So here, when we solve, we get 12.44%. And again, if you want to calculate the YTC, I terus tulis formula dia lah. So it's 100 ringgit plus we don't have the present value, the par value 1000, but instead we use the call price 1001, market price 920, and and the 8 years, because that's 8 years left to maturity. Then 1,100 plus 920 divided by 2. So 1100, 1,100 minus 920 divided by 8 plus 100 and divided by 2,000 berapa ni ya? 2120 2120 divided by 2. So 100 plus 920 2020, sorry, divided by 2. Okay, 2020. So dia balik minus 920 by 8 plus 100 divided by 2020 divided by 2. So you get 12.13%. Okay, so you got 12.13%. Okay, 12.13, like I said, there will be slight changes in terms of the decimals kat ujung ni. Okay, so if you use formula, you're going to get this answer, acceptable. And if you have financial calculators, you use these steps and you're going to get a slightly different answer, which is actually the more accurate answer. Pun acceptable jugalah, as long as you can display how you derive the answers. Okay, so there's plenty of exercises kat belakang ni, you can go through. Kalau tak ada, I tak ingat I share slides yang ni. I think I share slide yang ni lah. Okay, you can try lah. A lot of questions kat belakang ni. So with that, we end for topic number 7. Right, few announcement. Okay, ada a few announcement lah. So what's going to happen next, especially next week. Okay, kalau ikutkan memo dia tulis next week akan ada online class. Okay, and our class is on Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay, tapi next week there'll be no class. Okay, sebab I'm not around. But I'm gonna post another quiz. I think the majority of you dah jawab quiz 1. Okay, quiz 1 ada online. Siapa yang belum jawab, you have until tomorrow untuk jawab. Tapi I saw just now a lot of people dah jawab. Ada just a few more yang tak jawab lagi. And I'm gonna post another quiz based on bond later. And I'm gonna find alternative sebab the next topic is about derivatives. Okay, ada topics on derivatives and also unit trust, which is derivative tu mungkin susah sikit lah sebab dia technical. I need to find other videos mungkin to explain sebab kita tak ada kelas next week ni kan, so I have to find alternative lah. Okay, sebab we have about 5 more topics to go with about 4 weeks left. Kalau tak ada video, mungkin kita akan jumpa on the following week tu nantilah, on the 30th and also the 31st tu. Okay, that's the alternative way untuk resume the other following topics lah. Okay, so itu sahaja reminder. So recap, there'll be no class on the 23rd and also the 24th, but there'll be quiz, the second quiz now. So expect more quizzes afterwards. Sebab awal semester masa tu tak sempat nak buat quiz, but now we have to do a lot more quizzes lah towards the end. Alright, so thank you very much, and I'll see you guys after the Christmas break lah. Right, Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay,
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
okay, welcome.